What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
I am Iron Man.
You are a toy!
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Server Anakin! I have the high ground!
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
I'm simply saying that life, finds a way.
Welcome back to the Big Movie Boys podcast, the podcast that only 90's kids will remember. I'm your host, Jeremy Baumana. With me, as always, is Bob Dial-Up Liebel.
How's everybody doing? I just want to personally apologize to Jeremy's father for my lists today. I know he's not going to like them.
And Ben, Saturday morning cartoons, Stitch.
What's going on? Yeah, this list will definitely be a little weaker than the first 2 decades, but I'm excited.
We've got a lot to discuss this week, including the new teaser trailer for The Batman, and we'll determine the best movie of the 90's. But first, we're going to start on a downer that only 2020 could give us. That is the passing of Chadwick Boseman. I don't know how much more there is to say on this other than fuck 2020 this year and everything about it.
Yeah, it was just really sad, and just the fact that he hid it from everyone makes it even more remarkable and like sad that he was living these last 4 years like with this shitty disease and like no one knew about it, but still inspired so many people.
It's really, really, really sad. He's one of the biggest actors of our generation, biggest, just figures of our generation. He's done so much for movies and then everything else, obviously, but it's very sad. I have an actual actor die that we know. Like, obviously actors die all the time,
But not this young, yeah.
this is one that is directly involved with our generation and affected all of us in different ways, so it's pretty sad.
Yeah, he definitely had plenty more roles to fill that we won't be able to see anymore, which definitely sucks. I guess the only positive takeaway I can find in this whole story is that a guy who is already incredibly respected, his passing just made people respect him even more, which I guess is one thing you can take away from it. But yeah, it sucks. This year sucks. Everything sucks. But let's move on to something that hopefully will bring us back up again. That is the teaser trailer for the new Batman movie titled The Batman. This is starring, obviously, friend of the show, Robert Pattinson. We mentioned that the teaser had come out when we recorded last week. We recorded basically as DC Fandom was going on, so we hadn't actually seen it yet. I've now seen it 6 or 7 times since then. And
vengeance.
It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, it looks fucking sweet. All right, isn't it more like a throwback one? It's not supposed to be as up to date.
It's him. It's supposed to take place in the 90's, right? And
As far as I know.
And it's him. It's in the beginning of him being Batman.
It is on theme. I didn't even think of it. It's
Yeah, I
on
like
theme
that.
for today's podcast.
It looks sweet too. Like, I was worried when friend of the show was going to be Batman for whatever reason. I don't know. It's just always like a British person. I think I always get bummed for at first, but he looks fucking sweet in the role, and I can't wait to watch it.
His suit looks sweet. His Batman voice, even though we do only get 2 words out of it. I think that was one of the only complaints about the Nolan trilogy was Christian Bale's Batman voice.
Yeah. I actually don't enjoy the suit, if I'm being honest. Something about it I don't
Suit?
like. And it's supposed to have like a look of it's new. He's new to being Batman.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The suit, I can probably turn around on the suit, but from what I've seen, the pictures and then obviously this trailer, I'm not super big on it, but I think my mind will probably be changed when I see it on screen.
I think the idea is that it's supposed to be a pretty flexible suit. He's supposed to be able to actually move in it and be able to fight. And
is the antagonist in this one is the Riddler?
Correct.
I didn't know that. He wasn't in the trailer at all.
I think he's like...
I don't think he's shown in the trailer.
But I think it's like... I don't know. I saw some
Who's
fans
playing
be
the
able to point
Riddler?
him out. Forget his name, but I've seen him in some things. He was in that movie Prisoners
Okay.
with Jake Gyllenhaal, I think, was in it. I think he'll play that role really well. I don't know what his name is.
Could
but
be a
he looks
star-making
freaky.
performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone who is not up to date and still thinks of friend of the show Robert Pattinson as the guy from Twilight, even though
He's
should
in like every movie in 2020.
That's done. he is a legitimate movie star, a legitimate very good actor.
We know that, and our audience knows that, but unfortunately our audience isn't big enough to convince the general masses yet. I think either Tenet or this movie will do that.
He shed the Twilight stigma, in my opinion. I don't even remember him from that.
We have the Batman, Tenet, and the Devil All the Time. That's unreal right
The
there.
3 biggest movies that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, really.
Honestly.
Was there anything in the trailer in particular that made you more or potentially less excited for
When
it?
he beat the fuck out of that one guy.
Yeah, that was the thing that stands out to me the most. That and when he says "I'm vengeance" are the 2 things that really stand out.
I thought the suit looked good. I disagree with Bob there. I thought just him saying "I'm vengeance" and beating the shit out of some dude was pretty sweet, and the Batmobile looks rad.
I love the
Yeah.
Batmobile, actually. I like that.
And just the trailer itself, I thought it was a very well made trailer. It's got Nirvana in the background.
Yeah, I like
very
that about
slow
it,
and
too.
kind of creepy as well. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I've said it a dozen times before, but pretty excited for this movie.
Is this supposed to be like a trilogy then? Is that the plan here? I feel like every superhero movie now, you feel like it
You can't
needs
ever
to
just
be
do
a
a one-off.
trilogy.
Right. I'm sure they signed him to like a 5-movie contract because that's how these contracts go these days. But as far as I know, this is its own movie. It has nothing to do with any other DC movie that has come before it.
I would like if it stuck the way the Joker kind of did, where it was a one-off, and it's. I mean, I know there's talks about them doing a second one, but like I think that's what they should do to differentiate themselves from Marvel. Do these one-off movies. Just make one good movie and just leave it at that. That's the Batman. in
That's
this movie.
interesting to me, but I mean, The Dark Knight's my favorite movie of all time, and I think that if you can pull it off, I think doing the trilogy can make it.
Do you want
last
another? Do
forever.
you want another trilogy though? I feel like we should just have our one definitive Batman trilogy. We shouldn't even try to mess with it. I say
I mean,
do a one-off.
I almost think it's like too early still to do a new Batman. Like that's probably my only complaint about this.
It's
but
been too early when they even did with.
with Ben Affleck, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like it's always been too early. Like, but
We constantly have a Batman and a Spider-Man in our universe. There's
Yeah.
always a new one.
yeah, I think if the first one's really good, I'm obviously gonna want another one.
I don't think this movie will be bad, and there might be things that I don't like about it, and there might be things that it's not going to be perfect, obviously. But
Yeah.
like the way the trailer is, the way Robert Pattinson is, everything they've set up, I just see this being a good movie.
The DC universe has clearly just been a mess, especially if you compare it to Marvel,
It
who's
is
been
very
pretty
convoluted.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel's been killing it. DC has been trying to catch up. My takeaway from DC fandom, having watched a few of the trailers for the different movies, it seems to be that they've gone, okay, we've been watching Marvel make movies for 12 years now. We just learned how to make movies in the past year or so. The movies that are coming out, they look good. I don't know if they're planning a universe or if they're just letting these directors and writers do whatever they want. And then if they are successful, they'll then carry forward
Yeah.
with those. I don't know. I don't know that they have the mastermind behind them like Marvel has Kevin Feige. Regardless, the Batman looks cool. And if it is cool, I'll want more of it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into something we've done 2 times before. We're going to determine what the best movie from the 1990s was. If you're unfamiliar with how we do it, we're going to go year by year, 1990 to 1999. And we're going to figure out, as a group, what is the best movie from each year. We need a majority vote, so at least 2 of us need to agree.
And this one's gonna be tough. This is definitely our last decade. I feel like we definitely can't do the 80s.
I don't know any movies. I don't understand how. I've never seen any movie from the 1990s.
This could be rough. Once we have our best
Embarrassing.
movie from each year, that will be our top 10 list for the decade.
Do you know what the real problem is? We're just a shitty podcast. We don't know anything
That's
about
fair.
movies.
That could very well be. Once we get our top 10 list, we have to unanimously agree on what the
God.
best movie of the decade is. That will be the last 45 minutes of this episode. So we've got that to look forward to. We've all created our lists. As always, I will just read a general list of movies from each year, not necessarily all considered the best movies from the year, but just to give you an idea of movies that came out. Starting with 1990, the best picture was Dances with Wolves. Biggest box office take for the year was Home Alone. Other movies include Total Recall, Goodfellas, Edward Scissorhands, Ghost, Pretty Woman, The Hunt for Red October, It, Tremors, The Godfather Part 3, Kindergarten Cop, Lord of the Flies, Back to the Future Part 3, Rocky V, Die Hard 2, RoboCop 2. Lots of sequels and Part 3s at the end of that list there. Ben, we'll start with you. What are you narrowing down this list to? Let's pretend like we don't already have our winner for 1990.
Yeah, this one was tough for me. I only had 2. I had Home Alone and Goodfellas. And all the other
Big year
movies
for Joe Pesci for you.
Yeah, big.
It's
I totally
crazy to
forgot it
think
was
that
the same year.
crazy to think those movies came out in the
I
same
know.
year.
Which one is he scarier in? Yeah, but this one's pretty easy for me. I think we already know what this one's going to be.
Bob, do you have more than one movie on your list for
So
1990?
I actually have 4 movies for 1990. I have the one that's going to be the winner, which I'll say last. But I put Edward Scissorhands just because I like that movie. Thought it was a good movie. That was when Tim Burton movies didn't suck. Home Alone, because everybody loves Home Alone. And I put Back to the Future 3 on there just because I love Back to the Future. But the winner, and I don't think Jeremy's going to say anything differently, I would say Goodfellas. It's got to be Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite movie of all time, and I'm going to push hard for it at the end. It's Goodfellas.
I don't know, it doesn't look like there would be much of an argument for this first year. My list was the same as Bob's, minus Edward Scissorhands, because I haven't seen that. Back to the Future Part 3, the weakest of the trilogy, but still one of the best trilogies of all time. Home Alone, one of the few Christmas movies I watch every year.
You can
and
watch
actually
it
enjoy.
when it's not Christmas.
And Goodfellas, only watched it a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to say it's better than Home Alone. Sorry if that's a controversial statement. For
Is that 1990 Goodfellas?
I wrote it down before Jeremy was even finished talking.
1990, that was an easy one. I don't think they'll all be this easy, but 1990, I was feeling pretty confident we would pick Goodfellas. There are a few more podcast movies yet to come up, so we'll see if every movie that we've reviewed so far will win the year. All right, that was an easy one. Let's move on to 1991. I actually have a pretty short list for this year, so maybe you guys will come up with something that I don't have. The best picture for this year was The Silence of the Lambs. Biggest box office take was Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Other movies include Point Break, Hook, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and The Never-Ending Story 2. Those are the only movies I came up with for my list.
I was hoping you would have more because I did not have any here.
I have Cape Fear. It's a Robert De Niro movie. It's pretty good. I've never seen the entire thing start to finish, but
Yeah, I'll count that. That
really
counts.
like it. But no, Silence of the Lambs.
You
For
all
me.
know
And
you don't have to see the movie to vote for it.
that is my
Yeah.
pick, though. Silence of the Lambs. And have you guys seen it?
I've seen parts of it. I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing. It is on my list, and my only other movie is Toy Soldiers because I think I liked it when I was a kid, but I haven't seen that one in about 23 years.
I only had 2 movies on my list as well. I had Point Break, which is a movie I've never seen, but apparently the plot is almost the same as the first Fast and Furious movie. So my theory is without Point Break, we wouldn't have the Fast and the Furious movies. But I actually did a little homework this week. I felt like my list was lacking. I watched The Silence of the Lambs for the first time this past week.
Wow.
What'd you
Why
think?
did nobody ever tell me to watch this movie?
I've
It's
told you all
basically
the time.
Criminal Minds,
I think
Yeah.
but better.
Yeah.
I think I watched like the first 20 minutes and then never went back to it for whatever reason.
Oh, it's so good.
It's really good. It's all about the BAU, formerly the Behavioral Science Unit of the FBI. And am I the only one sitting here that thought Hannibal Lecter was a real serial killer and not just a fictional character?
They make you feel it that way. Yeah, and he's so.
I thought he was fake. Did you think he was real going in?
Thought he was real.
Oh.
he's such
until
a
the
part
movie.
of pop culture that I can see how
I just knew the name. I didn't even know
I
this
can
movie was
see
It's
how
about.
a
you
great villain name.
I can
Oh,
see
yeah.
how you would yeah, because he's
Hannibal
such
the
a
Cannibal.
such a part of pop culture. Like
But yeah, easily my vote is for Silence of the Lambs. I really enjoyed that movie.
I agree.
I'm totally okay with that because I don't think Toy Soldiers is
Hard push at the end too for Silence of the Lambs. If I'm being honest. The first 2 movies we have, Goodfellas and Silence of the Lambs, are arguably like, for me. I mean, I've said it last week. Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time. Silence of the Lambs is absolutely a top 10er for me, maybe even a top 5. So this is going to be hard at the end.
I felt like that movie was made for me, and the fact that no one had ever pushed me to watch it before, I was a little disappointed.
Well, you just got big into Criminal Minds, so.
That's true. All right, let's move on to 1992. The best picture for that year was Unforgiven. The biggest box office take was Aladdin. Other movies include A Few Good Men, Reservoir Dogs, Batman Returns, My Cousin Vinny, The Mighty Ducks, A League of Their Own, Basic Instinct, Wayne's World, The Patriot Games, Fern Gully, White Men Can't Jump, The Lawnmower Man, Of Mice and Men, Home Alone 2, Sneakers, Lethal Weapon 3, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, and Glengarry Glen Ross. Lots of sports movies that we brought up on Ben's podcast in this list. Ben, what did you narrow yours down to?
Only had one of those sports movies though. I obviously had to go with the Mighty Ducks, unironically. I had Aladdin there because I think that's one of my probably like top 10 like kid movies. I only had 2 more. I had Wayne's World, which haven't seen that in forever, but I think I like it.
Good enough to make the list.
Exactly.
For the best movie of 1992.
If I think I like it, it makes this list.
I think that was on the box cover too. I think I like it. Quoted by Ben Stitch, Big Movie Boys.
Yeah, that got a lot of people to watch that. And then a movie I actually know I like, Reservoir Dogs. That one I know I like.
So for me, looking back at I was pretty drunk when I made this list. I put Batman Returns. And
Did you think it was the Christian Bale one?
I don't know what I was doing. I do like that. That's the one with Danny
That one's Batman
DeVito,
Begins.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I like Danny DeVito in that as the Penguin. He's good. So that
You stand by that?
Yeah, I stand by that. And I put Of Mice and Men on there.
Shout
And
out
you know
to
what?
sophomore year.
Spoiler alert. George kills Lenny. Wait, Lenny kills George. Wait, what are their names?
Gary Sinise
John
and
Malkovich is dead.
That was a good list there, Bob.
Like I said, you're gonna see it later. I was drunk when I made my list, so I haven't. This is the first time I've seen it since I made it. So
I
made it an hour ago.
A League of Their Own, a movie I haven't seen, but it got me points in Ben's Big Movie Boys game. I also included Aladdin, one of my personal favorite, Disney animated movies. And I did a little bit of homework this week. I watched Reservoir Dogs for the first time.
Wanted to see that
you
for a
watched a lot
while.
of movies this week.
Do
I
you
did
have a
my
job?
homework.
Do you do anything? Why do you have all this time?
I thought you watched Criminal Minds all week.
Sometimes I mix in a few movies here and there. Reservoir Dogs,
I thought
very
you'd seen
good
that.
movie.
Yeah, it is really good. Have you seen it, Bob?
No, I've wanted to for a long time.
It's
Steve
on,
Buscemi's in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's on
it's a
Peacock,
Tarantino
so you can watch
one, right?
it for free.
It's a Tarantino movie, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to see that for a while.
Very different from what I know Tarantino from. It was only like an hour and 45 minutes.
Was that one of his first movies?
Yeah.
It wasn't. You could tell it was an earlier one, but,
But it's short and it's cool because they don't show the bank robbery scene.
Really?
I
So
had
it's
no
on Peacock?
idea.
I might watch it tonight.
Yeah, perfect.
I had no idea what it was going into it.
Neither did I.
Outside of just the name and it being a Tarantino movie.
Don't
Like
they all have they're all like Mr. and then like a
Mr.
color?
White, Mr. Brown, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, my vote is for Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, Bob, you're gonna lose
I'll go
this
with
one
it.
if
No,
you
I'll go with it.
All right,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
that was easy. Reservoir
Yeah.
Dogs.
We're agreeing too
These
much.
are some good movies.
someone-
Yeah.
gotta throw
No,
out
I know Reservoir Dogs is a top movie, so like I'm okay with that. And like I said, I want to see it for a long time, but
All right, we're cruising right along here.
Yeah.
Getting into 1993, the best
I'm on a long
picture.
list.
Schindler's List, biggest box office take, Jurassic Park, big year for Spielberg. Other movies include The Sandlot, Dazed and Confused, Sleepless in Seattle, Mrs. Doubtfire, Alive, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Hocus Pocus, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Philadelphia, Groundhog Day, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey, Cool Runnings, Coneheads, The Fugitive, Rookie of the Year, and Free Willy.
Gilbert Grapes.
It's definitely singular Gilbert Grape as many
I had
times as
Gilbert Grapes on my list. But no, I also have
Did you actually have that movie?
no. But it is grapes. I have Jurassic Park just because how do you not put Jurassic Park on there? I would assume you guys also have that. Nightmare Before Christmas. Did you say that in your little opening?
I
thing?
did. Thanks for listening.
Love that. I just heard grapes and I tuned out. Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas, and I also put Mrs. Doubtfire, which might be taking it for me.
Okay, yeah. Mrs. Doubtfire didn't make my list.
What?
Sorry, Liz. I have The Sandlot, I should say. Jurassic Park, of course. That's an easy one. The Firm with Tom Cruise. Hocus Pocus, I think, is one of my all-time favorite Halloween movies. The Fugitive with Harrison
What
Ford.
year did Hocus Pocus come out?
1993, the one we're doing.
Okay.
What year did you have it listed for?
5.
That's Hocus Pocus too.
Shit. Okay.
I
I don't know what happened there.
The
Like I said, I was
Fugitive-
drunk when I made this.
Yeah. So The Fugitive with Harrison Ford. Schindler's List because I watched it recently. Way too longest movie I think I've ever watched, but it was
How long
good.
is it?
Like 3:20 or something.
dear
so it's
Lord.
really long. And then Philadelphia with Tom Hanks. But yeah, I think we're gonna come to like a easy conclusion on this year too. But Jerry, you go first.
I
Hocus Pocus?
I had a short list myself because if you ask me, gun to my head, what's my favorite movie of all time, I'm probably gonna say Jurassic Park. So
What the fuck? Your gun to your head movie is Jurassic Park.
And we have a gun to his head, so you know he's telling the truth.
But seriously, Jurassic Park is your gun to head favorite movie?
it's an easy top threer. Easy top three
Damn.
movie.
Jurassic World in that top 3 too.
It's a very far down on my list.
I mean, I like Jurassic Park, but like, I wouldn't call it my favorite movie of all time.
No one's asking you to.
What are we
Is it
deciding
your
on for
favorite
this year?
movie
You
of
said that you
1993?
thought it was unanimous.
I think it's gonna be Jurassic Park.
I mean, I can get with it, but I don't agree with Jeremy that should be his favorite movie. I think it needs to. I think he needs to reconsider.
so should we,
Bob,
should we
what's
say
your-
Hocus Pocus just to fuck Jerry?
Let's do it.
Bob, what do you think my favorite movie should be?
I don't know. Gun to my head. What's your favorite movie?
shit.
So we're doing Hocus Pocus though?
No, I gotta go with Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I recently watched it again. It's on. I think all three of them are on Netflix. The first one's really good. The second one's terrible. Third one holds up.
I've only ever seen the first. I haven't seen the other ones.
I wouldn't even waste my
Doesn't
time.
the dinosaur talk in the third one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. That'd be a good drunk movie. We should call back to a few episodes ago when we did the best movies to watch drunk.
Why didn't we add that?
I don't know.
Yeah, but this one's got to be Jurassic Park, right?
I mean, my vote's for Jurassic Park. If you
Bob's
guys
gonna
really
upload it
think
then.
Hocus Pocus is a
no.
better movie, but
I'm good with Jurassic Park. Can we read off what we have so far? Because I honestly feel like this list
forgot?
is pretty fire.
Yeah, this is pretty great. So 90 was Goodfellas, 91 was Silence of the Lambs, 92 Reservoir Dogs, and 93 Jurassic Park.
Holy fuck.
This might be better than our 2000s list so far.
Dude,
We love
it's
that
a
list.
shame that there's only 10 people listening to this right now because we have some good movies.
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna call it right now. 1994 might be the one that we start to disagree
Hard.
on.
Yeah, this one's hard.
We're not the only people to think 1994 was a great year because the biggest box office take was also the best picture for this year.
Huh.
It was Forrest Gump. Other movies include Pulp Fiction, Speed, Little Rascals, The Usual Suspects, The Shawshank Redemption, Junior, The Mask, True Lies, The Crow, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, Dumb and Dumber, The Lion King, The Santa Claus, Clerks, D2: The Mighty Ducks, and Star Trek Generations. If I may say it myself, 1994 might be the 2004 of the 2019 of movies.
I have a question. Lion King came out in 94?
Yeah.
I had it in 95.
95 was a big year for Bob.
I don't know what the fuck happened. Ben, who do you got, though? What are you looking at?
So I had Forrest Gump in here. Yeah, this is going to be tough for me. I had Lion King. I had Pulp Fiction. I had Usual Suspects, which I thought I pulled a Bob and thought was in 95 for a minute there. And I had D2, which may be
Are you
the
fucking
best
kidding me?
Mighty Ducks movie ever made. And I'm going to fight for that one.
Okay, well, I have three top 10 movies right here. This is hard, like you said.
Your top 10 is like 30 movies deep.
That's a fact. Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump. In which one I'm going to pick, I have no fucking idea.
Bob, I'm in the same boat. I had those three and The Lion King. So and
I left that off my list because I knew it wouldn't make it over, but that's an honorable mention on my list.
all four of those are competing for my pick right now. If I had to narrow it down to two.
Gun to your, I pulled the gun out of my...
Bob pulled his gun back out.
He has a second gun.
I have two guns.
I'm between, personally, Pulp Fiction and The Lion King.
You know what?
Pulp Fiction's my winner on this one, as much as I love D2.
Really? Pulp Fiction's on mine. I know it doesn't matter because now we just had you guys fucking basically say
No,
it.
but what did you want to fight for?
Forrest Gump or Shawshank. I would say, if I had to narrow this gun to my head, if I had to take one of these off right now, I'm going to take Pulp Fiction off. I'm going to keep
Really?
Forrest Gump and Shawshank. Shawshank, I think, is going to make it out for me here. I love Shawshank Redemption. A beautiful TNT movie. A beautiful 2 a.m. Love that one.
TNT movie. Yeah, see, I can respect that pick, but Pulp Fiction, I think I watched it for the first time ever last year, and I don't know, I just became like, I think that's what made me really become a Tarantino fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's a coin flip between Pulp Fiction and Lion King.
I won't
for
be
me.
mad at any of these. Do we want to pull the Lord of the Rings rule and just somehow get one of these on the list at the end?
I still don't know what the Lord of the Rings rule is. But
Should we take two? I'm gonna put a new rule. Should we try to take two movies out of 94? Is that fair? Honestly though, because if we pick one of these, how disrespectful is that? Between Shawshank, Pulp Fiction, and Forrest Gump, you're telling me we're only gonna pick one of these? Because by the end of this podcast, I'm the only one drinking, but we could change our minds. Like, what if we bring Pulp Fiction out, and later at the end we're like, you know what? I want Shawshank.
we've had plenty of competitive years before that we've only picked one.
Yeah, I'm going to have to overrule Bob on that one. I think
we have a mathematical, scientifically approved process.
Here's what we're going with. I'm going with Pulp Fiction. Bob, what's your answer?
Jeremy, you go, because I'll just, if you're picking Pulp Fiction, we'll just both fuck me. Put a gun in my head.
I think I gotta pick Pulp Fiction.
Well, you know what? It's weird. I was gonna pick Pulp Fiction, so it's like it's unanimous.
All right, let's move on to 1995, the year Bob had all of his movies listed.
I don't have any left.
Best picture for this year was Braveheart. Biggest box office take was Die Hard with a Vengeance. Other movies include Batman Forever, The Net, Casino, Billy Madison, Seven, Waterworld, Goldeneye, Crimson Tide, Heat, 12 Monkeys, Tommy Boy, Apollo 13, Jumanji, Toy Story, Pocahontas, Bad Boys, Mallrats, and Mortal Kombat. Bob, what do you got? Do you have any left in your 1995 list that actually came out this
The
year?
ones, since I got so many wrong, the only one I have left is Casino, which I know neither of you have ever seen. You guys both said you like Goodfellas. Casino is actually 3 hours long. It's a long movie, but I mean, if you like Goodfellas, you'll love Casino. Casino's just another great mob movie, another great Scorsese movie, and yeah, this is without a doubt Casino's such a good fucking movie.
That's fair. I'll probably get to it eventually.
Yeah, it's I would call it a must watch. If you liked Goodfellas, this is a must watch. But that's the only one I have because the other ones were in other years. So
yeah, I had a couple more on this one. I had Toy Story, Apollo 13 that I loved, Jumanji, I think just more of a childhood classic for me, Tommy Boy, and Friday was this year as well, which I really liked that movie.
I had a similar list to Ben. Toy Story, another one that you could gun to my head. Might call it my favorite movie of all time.
I'm learning a lot about you.
Jumanji, another one that I love from my childhood. Tommy Boy, maybe one of the funniest movies of all time. I think this was the dodgeball of the 90s, maybe.
Wow.
I could get. I'm gonna add.
Get behind that.
I'm gonna add Tommy Boy to my list, even though I didn't say it. But I love that movie too.
And then the only movie that I even added to my list because I've seen it before was The Net, which was with Sandra Bullock, and she basically gets her identity stolen and life taken over because she had her information on the internet.
Wow, that was probably a big scare for people in the 90s.
That's a dangerous place in 1995.
That damn internet.
Yeah,
She also
can't
ordered
say
a pizza online. So
that's how it happened?
Predicted the future. That was part of it, yeah.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever even heard of that movie, so we're going to shoot that one down from your list. I'm going to make you take it off. This one's tough for me, like, to actually pick a movie, because I don't think any of these kind of stick out as my favorite, like how Jeremy has, like, Toy Story, but I like all these movies that I listed.
I mean, my vote's for Toy Story. You guys can outvote me if you want.
I think Bob's vote is for Casino.
What do you got, Ben? What are you voting for?
Well, I've never seen Casino, so I feel like I can't pick it. So if we want to get to a movie, I think I have to go Toy Story.
You know what? I'm cool with Toy Story. You got to put it on there.
I don't think it. I think it's like one of the greatest animated movies of all time.
Wasn't
right?
it not the first in that style?
First Pixar computer animated movie.
For starting the entire genre, I would say, yeah. Now, so we're going to go with that for 95?
Yeah.
All right, big year for two of the big movie boys. We got 1996. Best picture for this year was The English Patient.
Oh, love that one.
Biggest box office take was Independence Day.
Never heard of it.
Other movies include Jack, Twister, Multiplicity, Happy Gilmore, Space Jam, The Rock, Mission Impossible, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, 101 Dalmatians, The Nutty Professor, From Dusk Till Dawn, Fargo, Kazam, Scream, Swingers, and That Thing You Do.
Yeah, this list was pretty easy for me. I got Happy Gilmore, of course. Great fucking movie. Twister. I think every person likes this movie because they love seeing tornadoes. Independence Day, of course. Saw that when it came out. I was negative 6 months old, but I went to see it. And Space Jam. Jeez, this list is just littered with fucking big movie boys movies.
Wow. Yeah, for me, I have Happy Gilmore, obviously. Awesome movie. Matilda. Love me some Matilda. Love that movie. I
was not expecting Matilda to leave your mouth.
I'm telling you, man, I fucking love Matilda. That is an ABC Family classic. I also have Mars Attacks, which I don't know if you mentioned that at the beginning. I like Mars Attacks.
That was in 1995.
It was?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I mean, fuck me. It probably was. And I have another one I don't think you mentioned, that The Crucible.
I think. Oh yeah, that's right.
John Proctor fucked yo bitch. That's all I got though. So, Jared, what are you looking at?
Mine's pretty short. Happy Gilmore. I might say Happy Gilmore is my favorite Adam Sandler movie.
It is definitely mine too. Besides,
gun to your head.
Don't even need a gun to my head. I'll just say it loud and proud.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with that actually.
That's the best one, honestly.
Independence Day is probably my real vote, and my vote for one that you guys haven't watched, That Thing You Do. Another top fiver. This a great decade for top five movies.
Dude, what is your movie list?
Tom Hanks wrote, direct, and starred in this movie, and it's incredible.
Man, what are we gonna come with here?
I mean, my vote of those three, as good as Happy Gilmore is, I think it's for Independence Day.
Yeah, I was gonna say Independence Day, even though Happy Gilmore is one of my. I probably watched Happy Gilmore more than any movie
I'm going
in
Happy
the
Gilmore
90s.
with this one. I just feel like we haven't had a comedy yet. If we're talking about a decade, like you're telling me there hasn't been one good comedy movie in an entire decade, I think this should probably win the year for me.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck Jeremy. We're gonna go with Happy Gilmore on this one.
Happy Gilmore is such a good movie.
My counter to that, though, is I think Tommy Boy is probably a better movie,
But it didn't come out in this year, Jay.
but it came out the year prior. So if you're going for the best comedy of the decade, it's already in the past.
I'm gonna, you know what, honestly, as a fan of both movies, I'm still giving it to Happy Gilmore. I love Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, Ben Stiller's so fucking funny in that movie.
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
Well, you know what? I'm going to vote for Independence Day just so we have one that we
All right,
don't agree on.
That's on the record. But
All
we're
right.
going with Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, we were cruising through these. Luckily, we saved ourselves 45 minutes at the end for our final deliberation. But let's figure out 1997 first. Another year where the best picture was also the biggest box office take, Titanic.
Didn't know this movie came
That's
out in
wild.
97.
Other movies include Donnie Brasco, Dante's Peak, Good Will Hunting, Gattaca, Tomorrow Never Dies, Flubber, Face Off, Jackie Brown, Event Horizon, Con Air, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Men in Black, Air Force One, Copland, and Starship Troopers. Bob, what do you got 1997 narrowed down to?
For me, I just got to give a quick shout out to my father. He loves Con Air. Honest to God, we said gun to our head a few times this podcast. My dad will tell anybody that listens.
He'll
like,
put a
Con
gun
Air.
to your head.
He says, "Do you like Con Air?" Loves Con Air. Mind you, I hate that movie. But I do have. So I went with Good Will Hunting, just because. God damn, I saw that movie actually like 3 months ago.
Do you want to cry right now?
I do. I do. That movie is so fucking sad. Men in Black. We may have to fact check. Did you say that? Did that come out?
Yeah.
Yeah, Men in Black, dude. Men in fucking Black. And Donnie Brasco, which again, if you guys like Goodfellas, I could recommend Casino and Donnie Brasco. Donnie Brasco's on Netflix right now. I'd also call that, if you liked Goodfellas, Donnie Brasco, must watch. Johnny Depp is Donnie Brasco. And it's weird to see him. I mean, when I see Johnny Depp, I just see a pirate.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah. I just see a fucking pirate. So it's like weird to see him in a serious role, and he was young back then. It's like weird to see him in his young roles. So, and Al Pacino's in it too. So that's another one. I could push hard for Donnie Brasco, but if I were to pick, and I know we're not doing it yet, I'm probably going to say Good Will Hunting is my pick for 1997. Ben, what do you got?
That's fair. I had 5 movies. Also had Good Will Hunting. Had another Matt Damon movie. I think it was this year. The Rainmaker. I don't know if you said it.
Nope.
Air Force One. Jackie Brown, another Tarantino movie, and then
like
Men in
Jackie.
Black. But yeah, Good Will Hunting is like a movie like I will watch every 2 years just to remember it because that movie's so
just to
fucking
make sure
great.
you're alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you don't cry at the end, then
you're a piece of shit.
I'm pretty much going to leave this one up to you guys. When I was making these lists, I marked a bunch of movies that I considered watching this week in preparation. Both Good Will Hunting and Copland were on that list, but I didn't get around to either of them. So my only pick for this year, which is I think the only movie I've seen in its entirety on this list, was Men in Black.
yeah, this is a pretty good year too. That's weird you haven't seen Good Will Hunting, Jer.
Wow.
Yeah, Bob, if this one's up to us, I think it's pretty clear what we're going with.
We're going to go with Good Will Hunting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get
one's
behind it. I'm going to vote for Men in Black, though.
That's fine.
All right, 1998, the penultimate year of the decade. Best Picture, Shakespeare in Love. Biggest box office take, Armageddon. Other movies include The Truman Show, Deep Impact, Rounders, The Waterboy, American History X, Saving Private Ryan, The Wedding Singer, Ring, A Bug's Life, Ants, Mulan, Dr. Dolittle, The Big Lebowski, Blade, Meet Joe Black, The Parent Trap, You've Got Mail, and I think those are the only movies that came out in 1998, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think that's true. I have one that you definitely didn't list. Bob will appreciate this one. Rush Hour came out in this year. That'll definitely make my list.
I intentionally left it off the list to get Bob's reaction. I don't think he knew that Rush Hour came out this year.
I don't think it's on his list.
I don't even know what year it is right now.
My other movies are American History X, Enemy of the State with Will Smith. Love that movie. Recently just rewatched that one. And then probably my favorite one of the year, Saving Private Ryan.
Is it even a question what my pick is? I have one thing on my list. Rush Hour. Yeah, that's my pick.
Let me see your list. Let me make sure it's there.
If you guys actually, like I said, I was drunk when I made this. I could not remember what year Rush Hour came out. Actually, do have only one on my list. Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that's...
Which I haven't seen. My pick is Rush Hour, though. I'm going to retroactively X that off my list, and I'm going Rush Hour all day, every day. And you better not say anything different, Jeremy.
Well, I only had 2 on my list, and I don't know how I'm gonna pick between them.
Is it Rush Hour twice?
It's between A Bug's Life and Ants. Which ant-based movie from
Those
this
came
year?
out in the same
Isn't
fucking
A Bug's
year.
Life way better?
What's more weird, that Joe Pesci was in Goodfellas and Home Alone in the same year, or that Ants and Bug's Life came out in the same year?
I think it's that Ants and Bug's Life came out in the
How
same
the
year.
fuck did they do
I didn't
that?
pick either of them, by the way. But the 2 movies I did have were Armageddon, and I did a little homework this week, and I watched
the third movie.
Saving Private
Get a
Ryan,
fucking life, dude.
a 3-hour movie for the first time this week, on top of
And
all
you
the
liked
other
it,
movies.
though.
Guys, I don't know if you know this, but it's a pretty good movie.
I've heard.
Well, it made your list, and you
It
hadn't
made my
even
list. I've
seen it.
never seen it. Yeah.
No one told me Vin Diesel's in Saving Private Ryan.
Who does he fucking play?
He's-
Ryan?
Oh yeah, that's right. Fuck. His breakout role.
That was, if anyone had told me, I would have watched it earlier. But yeah, I did watch it this past week, and it's pretty dang good.
Yeah, sorry, Bob. Saving Private Ryan is gonna be mine. Rush Hour. If this was Rush Hour 3, I'd be with you all day. But Rush
Guys,
Hour 1
it's
doesn't.
not going to upset me. It's apparently the only movie I put on my list.
All right, let's get into our final year before we figure out which of these 10 movies is the best of the decade. 1999's Best Picture was American Beauty. Biggest box office take was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Other movies include The Green Mile, Big Daddy, The Blair Witch Project, Being John Malkovich, Fight Club, The Boondock Saints, The Iron Giant, The Matrix, The Sixth Sense, The Mummy, Talented Mr. Ripley, American Pie, Any Given Sunday, Dogma, Fantasia 2000, Girl Interrupted, Office Space, Stuart Little, Tarzan, Toy Story 2, and Wild Wild West. Longer list for 1999. Bob, what do you got it narrowed down to?
For me, I just went with Green Mile because I love that movie, Big Daddy, and Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Oddly,
Terrible movie.
one of the first movies I ever remember seeing in a theater. That's why I put it on there. But yeah, not a great movie. And Darth Maul's badass. So
Were you 4?
yeah.
What about you, Ben?
I had Big Daddy as well. I had The Sixth Sense, easy for me to say. Toy Story 2, Talented Mr. Ripley, and then far and away my favorite movie of 1999, Comedy Central classic, is Office Space. I fucking love Office Space.
Office Space is good. Yeah.
That was a good pick. My short list included The Matrix, Office Space, Tarzan, and Toy Story 2.
I forgot Tarzan came out.
I don't even remember Jeremy saying it.
Honestly, between those 4, I don't even know which one I'd pick, because as much as like The Matrix was a revolutionary movie, it's not one that I personally love all that much.
So Bob would say The Green Mile. I would say Office Space. Jeremy, what are you going with?
I mean, if I had to pick one of the 4 I narrowed down, I'd probably pick Toy Story 2. There's an argument to be had that it's better than Toy Story 1.
Do we have
I'm
Toy
not gonna
Story 1
make that
already on the
argument.
list?
Yeah, we do.
I'm not going to make that argument myself, but I would entertain it.
I disagree. I like Toy Story 1 more than Toy Story 2. You already said that Toy Story 1 might be your favorite movie of all time after you said Jurassic Park might be your favorite movie of all time, so now your
They are
credibility is
competing.
being...
I'm not joking. Those are 1 and 2.
Honestly, I did hear another thing that we both mentioned, and it's Big Daddy.
I'm not going with Big Daddy.
I'm
We don't
picking
even think
Office
it's better than
Space
Happy
over Big
Gilmore.
Daddy.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know.
I would go Office Space all day. I fucking love Office Space.
I could get behind Office Space, honestly.
I don't really want it. if
Pound
you're
for
being
pound,
honest.
it's the best movie of the decade.
Okay, think about the grandeur of what our list is so far. I'm not saying Office Space is a bad
You
movie,
think it
but I'm
taints
saying,
this list?
No, I'm just saying to cap it off with Office Space would be doing this list a disservice. I think
I
we need
disagree.
something good. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying like to have Office Space as the best movie of '99.
I think the best movie of 99, if you ask 100 people, is The Matrix.
But good thing those 100 people don't listen to this podcast.
I do The Matrix, and honestly, like if we're coming down to it, because I know we're not picking The Green Mile for me, I would go Toy Story 2 over Office Space. And I know we already have a Toy Story.
That's fine, yeah.
I mean,
My vote is just for Office Space, so I'll let Jeremy pick.
I'm gonna go Toy Story 2.
I'm going to say Toy Story 2 then.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, I love democracy.
That's how we do it here. So, Ben, when you write this down, why don't you regale us with what might be the best top 10 list we've come up with so far?
All right, here we go. 90 was Goodfellas. 91, Silence of the Lambs. 92, Reservoir Dogs. 93, Jurassic Park. 94, Pulp Fiction. 95, Toy Story. 96, Happy Gilmore. 97, Good Will Hunting. 98, Saving Private Ryan. And 99, Office Space.
This is without. This is
Scratch that,
without
Toy
a
Story
doubt.
2.
This is without a doubt the best list we've ever made. Because those movies are. I have no idea what we're gonna pick. I'm not even leaning in one place. My
This is gonna
preliminary
be tough.
my preliminary hard push is gonna be for Goodfellas and Silence of the Lambs. I would personally myself pick Goodfellas. If we could fall in the way of Silence of the Lambs, I'm okay with that. But those are my first two that I'm pushing hard for. I can get down with a lot of the other ones. What are you guys thinking, Jer?
Here's how I'm just gonna try to knock it down in my head. We got 2 Tarantino movies, and
One's
I would
better
pick
than the other.
I would pick Pulp Fiction over Reservoir Dogs.
Agreed.
I agree with that.
So we can knock Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs is off.
No, I'm going to do a cross off because
yeah,
this one's
that's a
gonna
good
be
that's a good
difficult.
idea because I never fucking remember.
And we've got 2 Toy Stories on there. I
And
think
one's better than the
I
second.
think Toy Story is better personally than Toy Story 2, even though I will entertain the counter argument.
You go with that, Bob?
I'm good with that. I agree.
Okay, and while I love Happy Gilmore, I don't think it's going to be the winner of this list.
Happy Gilmore is not better than any of the other movies on this list, as good as it is.
All right, so we've cut down 3.
So we got a top 7 right now.
Read them off.
Goodfellas, Silence of the Lambs, Jurassic Park, Pulp Fiction, Toy Story, Good Will Hunting, and Saving Private Ryan. My next one that I would cut off, take out of here is probably Saving Private Ryan.
Well, funny enough, we have a special guest in our studio audience who would like to make an argument for Saving Private Ryan.
Yes, I don't know what's really going on right now. I just walked in, but I know Twitch is kind of dumb if he's going to say Saving Private Ryan isn't on top of his list because that movie still stands as one of the best cinematics ever produced to this day. So I really don't know what he's saying.
Hey, I fought for it to come out of 98, so
What Mike is trying to say is go fuck yourself.
respectfully. Yeah, but hey, what do you guys think? Do you want to keep it on the list? I'm just trying to make it easier.
I myself, and I have Mike right behind me. I'm afraid he's going to hit me. I would take it off.
I wouldn't, but I mean, we need to come to a consensus.
If you're going to ask me, at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter how far it makes it to the end of the list, I'm not going to vote for it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
I'm thinking of
I
movies
great
I would
movie,
put
but-
on right now. I don't think I'd put that one on. And maybe that's just for like the length, and I'm a pussy.
For me, I'll give you my unbiased top 4.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's going to be Goodfellas, Silence of the Lambs. It's going to be top 5. Jurassic Park, Pulp Fiction, Saving Private Ryan. I'm taking off Toy Story and Good Will Hunting.
You have said multiple times
Agreed.
on this podcast that Toy Story might be your favorite movie.
I'm taking everything but Jurassic Park and Saving Private Ryan. So we come down to
All right, we're taking Saving Private Ryan off the list,
Yes.
I think, because of me and Bob. Sorry, Mike.
I'm saying Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas, and Silence of the Lambs.
Okay, mine would be Good Will Hunting, Goodfellas, Jurassic Park, and Pulp Fiction.
Are we taking off Good Will Hunting? We got to do it. We got to be cutthroat.
Hey, that's fine.
I've
Good
never
Will
seen
Hunting, get the fuck out of here.
Sorry, Will.
All
All right.
We can
What are we
probably
looking at?
We can take Toy Story off as well. None
Get
of us
that piece
had
of shit
Toy
out of here.
Story.
Get that the fuck off the list.
Sorry, Toy. All right, so we've cut down the second half of the decade. Now we just have Goodfellas, Silence of the Lambs, Jurassic Park, and Pulp Fiction.
Jurassic Park off. Not voting for
I
it.
disagree. I can't do it.
Are
yet,
you
Bob.
fucking kidding? Not yet. Which
For
one
me-
are you taking?
for
Which one are
me,
you taking off?
I haven't seen all of Silence of the Lambs, so just by that.
Jeremy's not going to let us
category
take
alone.
that off. I know you're not going to let us take
Hey,
Silence
I
of the Lambs
really
off.
liked that movie.
Yeah.
Then what are we
But I
going with?
also really like the other 3 on this list.
What's your vote?
To take off Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. My vote would be Silence of the Lambs.
Jurassic Park's on a
you
different
have
tier.
to go between one of those two now.
Talk about tiers right now. If we're talking
Might
about
be my
tier,
top 2 contenders.
if
right
we're
now.
talking about tiers of movies, I get that Jurassic Park is a good movie, and I love Jurassic Park, mind you. I fucking voted for it, but
I believe you that.
look at the tiers. The tiers are different here. You're honest to God telling me that Jurassic Park is as good as Silence of the Lambs, Goodfellas, and Pulp Fiction. And as much as you like it, and everybody likes it for different reasons, there's no way that's in the same tier.
You know, I'll just trust Bob's gut on this. He's clearly sober. He's thought this through. I'll go with we can cut off Jurassic Park because I feel like that's the next one I would want to cut off.
We need to come to a consensus.
Are we
That's
gonna?
what it takes. At this point, no. We're going to cut off all 10 movies.
Well, Jeremy, that was your gun to the head movie. Favorite
I'm
movie.
taking off Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park's off this son of a bitch.
All right, next one for me would be Silence of the Lambs.
I'm pretty sure Bob's just orchestrating it until everything is cut off except Goodfellas.
We're okay at this
And
point
I'd be
now.
okay with that.
We at this point we're cutting movies off. We're down to a top 3. I think at
Goodfellas,
this
Silence
point,
of the Lambs, and Pulp Fiction.
I think at this point we all need to go into another room, and we need to decide what our movie is. We're going to come back and we're going to tell everybody what it is. Of these 3 that are left, Silence of the Lambs, Goodfellas, and Pulp Fiction, what is your movie?
Mine would be Pulp Fiction.
Jeremy.
I don't.
Jesus
even
Christ,
know.
Jeremy.
Well, I'll answer. It's Goodfellas for me.
And I might
So
pick
it comes.
Silence of the Lambs.
It comes.
I really like that movie so much.
I'm going Goodfellas, and if Jeremy, if you take a hard stance on Silence, I could get
You could
behind
be
you.
swayed?
I could get behind you. I want Goodfellas personally. I love Goodfellas, but like we said, we have to come to an agreement. There has to be a best movie of the '90s.
I want to pick a movie I've seen, so I would go with Goodfellas before I went with Silence of the Lambs.
Well, it looks like you get to fuck yourself, Jeremy, because are we saying it?
I think there's
Well, well, I don't think it's going to be Pulp Fiction. We can cross that one off.
Pulp Fiction's out. Sorry, Quentin.
even of those three that we narrowed it down to. Personally, I might put Goodfellas at number 3. But if we need to come to a consensus, it sounds like it's got to be Goodfellas.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm not thrilled about as much as this decade was amazing. I don't know if I think this is another one of those decades where if we did it again, we'd come up with a different movie.
I gotta
Especially
go
if Bob wasn't
Goodfellas.
here.
I gotta go Goodfellas. From the beginning, I said that Goodfellas was gonna be my pick, and I can't. I'm not a bitch. It's it's got to be Goodfellas for me.
All right, you heard it here first. We did the math, we did the science, we consulted a doctor,
And Bob manipulated everyone.
and Bob ultimately got what he wanted. Goodfellas is officially the Big Movie Boys' best movie of the 90s. Would you like to say something on behalf of Martin Scorsese, Bob?
Yeah, he's a good personal family friend of mine, and he knows. I mean, he's won a lot of awards before, but nothing is bigger to this man.
He's gonna feel really happy when he sees this.
When I personally knock on his door with the trophy. We give a trophy to every one of the best movies. I don't know if anybody knows that. A little peek behind the curtain there. Yeah, Goodfellas. Fuck yeah, love that fucking movie.
Just watched it 2 weeks ago, but yeah, I can get behind that.
I'm glad I watched 3 movies this week, and none of them ended up being the best movie of the decade. Even though Silence of the Lambs maybe could have been.
Maybe
I'll give it the silver.
Maybe if I would have watched it this week, it would have won.
All right, well, join us next week where we do this again, but this time Ben will have watched Silence of the Lambs. Now, actually, next week we have another guest joining us. Jordan will be making his Big Movie Boys return, and we'll be talking about The Legend of Korra. So we can look forward to that next week. In the meantime, thank you for listening, and remember, Wakanda forever. We'll see you next week.